Hello everyone and welcome to another Masterclass Monday. Today we are looking at a few quick tips and tricks to tackle performing that classic playwright Shakespeare. Now, there are a lot of different opinions on the best way to perform Shakespeare's work, but I'm of the opinion that there isn't really a best way to do it. You know, if you're telling the story in an engaging and interesting way, be that in a mixed up, unexpected way or doing it in a fiercely traditional way, you're doing just fine. So with that in mind, here are a few quick tips on how to tackle that daunting material with confidence so you can find your own way of doing it. So Shakespeare might initially look or sound like gibberish or another language, but you'll notice when you watch people who are great at it, the meaning of it all suddenly seems as clear as day. And this is down to the actors knowing what they're saying. It's that simple. It's critical that you decode the text and ensure that you know what you're saying. And there are a raft of modern text translations on websites like Spark Notes with their No Fear Shakespeare series, and having a look at these will help you understand what the characters are saying and help you inform your performance. Also, when it comes to knowing what you're saying, I find it really helpful to look at these modern text translations side by side with the text you're using and really looking at how the words and the meanings translate across. And that will help you find your points of emphasis in sentences and things. And also, if you come across references that you don't understand, you know, to gods or that sort of thing, look them up, because the relevance of that god will be important and will inform your performance choices with those words. Now, there is a temptation when you first start doing Shakespeare, that because of what popular media has shown us and the grand feeling nature of the words, to start doing what I affectionately term the Shakespeare voice, which is very declamatory and doesn't allow you the vocal or emotional room to key into the feeling or story of a scene. Old does not mean grand, and this is especially true of Shakespeare. The characters in his plays are a huge range of people, and most of them will just talk in various rhythms, volumes, intensities throughout the plays. So do not get caught in the trap of a Shakespeare voice. So as with any text, it's important to use the punctuation. Just because you've reached the end of a line in the text does not necessarily mean that there's a pause, and the punctuation will tell you this, not the layout. It's also key to look at the punctuation and see what it can tell you about the text. You know, thoughts are often still separated by the punctuation, which would help give your acting some texture. And also the structure of the punctuation can tell you a great deal about the character's feelings at the time. Are there short, sharp lines with lots of punctuation in there? Then the character may be efficient or, you know, very quickly trying to get across facts. If they're long, meandering passages of text with little punctuation, then the character might be a dreamer, or at that time is thinking on a higher level and isn't necessarily keyed into the immediate situation. Now, this may be contentious, but I'm a firm believer in just sort of stressing about the poetic aspect of lines. If your lines are in couplets or in iambic pentameter, that is to say they rhyme or follow that well-known de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum rhythm that we all had to acknowledge in school, you just don't need to worry too much about it. Now, I'm not saying to fight the rhythm on purpose, and it's worth acknowledging its presence in your performance. But it's not something to stress about or force yourself to be slavish to it. I mean, to use an example of Romeo and Juliet, you know, the poetry in some of those scenes might show the audience or inform the audience that Romeo feels in love, or the kind of love that he's feeling. And your job as an actor is to do that as well, not just to, you know, perform a piece of poetry for the audience. Let the poetry in the lines enhance your performance, not dominate it. Now, your director may have other feelings on this one, but when working on Shakespeare, for me, the fourth wall is wiggly, to use the technical term, which is to say that the characters seem to often both know that they are in a show and equally are living the stakes of the story. Now, Shakespeare has written a lot of direct address to his audience. Main characters will have soliloquies where they talk to the audience about their current state of mind, or even their plans for upcoming scenes, and this is fine. You know, don't hide from it. You don't need to try and come up with a way for your character to be talking to themselves. You know, I'm still searching always for a better way to explain this, but a baseline way to look at this kind of thing is that simply, in the universe of your Shakespeare performance, the characters live in a universe where they acknowledge that there is an audience that intermittently appears. But because they also live in that universe, the stakes are still real. You know, death is death, battles are battles. You don't need to hide from your audience, and the direct address is a huge part of why Shakespeare's still so much fun to watch. Warming up your voice for Shakespeare is critical. The audience are about to hear a very verbal text full of words that they're just not used to hearing. It is so important that they are able to understand what you are saying. Now, Cicely Berry is a vocal goddess, and I recommend looking up any suggested vocal warm-ups by her in particular in regards to tackling Shakespeare if you want to look at the best ways to warm your voice up. Now, it may seem odd to reiterate my introduction and kind of almost invalidate half of what I've just said with my final point of the video, but it really is completely true. As with all theatre, everyone has an opinion on how Shakespeare should be done, and no one person's right. You're just going to find people that do it in a way that you agree with, and that's a good thing. It's freeing. Do it how you want to do it. Your opinion is equally as valid as anyone else's when it comes to performing. You find the best way to tell that story for you and embrace it. Everyone in the world thinks that they know best when it comes to theatre, or that a particular school of thought is correct. And some people feel very strongly about Shakespeare and how it should be done. Don't let them dictate your creativity. Nothing you do is going to be liked by everyone, so you might as well make it in the way that you like. So that has been a few quick tips or suggestions when it comes to performing Shakespeare. I hope you've enjoyed it and found some useful lessons in there. If you'd like an in-depth tutorial on any of the aspects just mentioned, or would like some recommendations of theatre companies to look up who do Shakespeare in some absolutely amazing ways, please do just either email education@lichfieldgarrick.com or chuck it down to the comments below. Equally, if you have a suggestion for anything else we could do a masterclass on, then please do chuck it down in the comments below or send us an email. So this has been Masterclass Monday, and as always, stay safe, stay positive, and we'll see you soon.